Hey boys and girls, today I will create fractions with like denominators so I can compare my fractions, and I'll know I have it when I can determine which fraction is greater. So here it says that Mr. B ate 2/3 of his cupcake while Mrs. B ate 3/4 of her brownie. Who ate more? So we are comparing those. We have 2/3 and 3/4. We want to compare using greater than, less than, or equal to. But if we notice, they have unlike denominators. So we can't compare them because they are cut up into different parts. This is a group of 3 and I only ate 2 of that group, and this is a group of 4 and she ate 3 of that group. So what I need to do is I need to use my least common multiple, which we worked on last week, and I need to find it for my denominators, so my 3 and my 4. Now what I like to do is I start with my smaller number and I count on to find my multiples. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I just like to do the first 5 and then I'll move to the next one. 4, 8, 12. Well, actually I can stop at 12 because I found my match, and that is my least common denominator, my least common multiple, so I know that that's my my LCM. I'm going to write that over here so I don't lose it. And then what I need to do is I need to take my original fractions and I need to change them into something that they have equivalent denominators. So I have 2/3, and I'm going to multiply that by some fraction. It's going to give me something over 12. Now I know from my equivalent fractions video that I can multiply anything by 1 and it changes the number, but it doesn't change the value. So 3 times 4 will give me 12. Now I need to fill in the top. And I know that if I want to multiply by 1, I have to have 4 over 4, because that's the same as 1 whole. So 4 times 2 is 8. So that will give me 8/12 is equivalent to 2/3. Then I do the same process with 3/4. 3/4 times a fraction equals something over 12. 4 times 3 will give me 12. I need to have my 3 as my numerator to represent 1 whole. 3 times 3 is 9. 9/12. Now that I have common denominators, now I can compare, and I see 9 is larger than 8, meaning 3/4 is more than 2/3. So as a couple of different steps, we had to find our common denominators by using least common multiple. Then we had to transfer it by multiplying by 1 whole, but using different numbers. To use different numbers so then we could make equivalent fraction denominators. So in this one, we've got Connor and Toby spending some time resting. I'd like you to pause this video, rewind if you need to figure out the process. Tell me, who spent less time being lazy? Hopefully by this point you've solved the problem, so I know I have 3/8 and 2/5. Now I am going to get my least common multiple, so 8 and 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I did my first 5. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Now I don't have a match yet, but I know that 40 is going to be my least common multiple. How do I know that? Well, I know my properties of 5s end in something that's 5 or 0, and that's my first 5 or 0 for 8. So I know that's going to be my least common multiple. That's why it's really important to know your multiplication facts, because you can take some shortcuts like that. So anyways, now I'm transferring my original fractions into fractions that have common denominators. So I do 3/8 times a fraction equals something over 40. Now 8 times 5 is going to give me 40. I need to put a 5 in my numerator to have a 1 whole, 5 over 5. 3 times 5 is 15. So 3/8 is equivalent to 15/40. Now I follow the same process for 2/5. 2/5 times a fraction equals something over 40. 5 times 8 I know is going to give me 40. 8 needs to become my numerator as well. To do 1 whole, 2 times 8 is 16. 16 over 40. And now I can compare. 15 is slightly smaller than 16, so I know Connor actually spent less time being lazy. And that's going to wrap it up for us here, boys and girls. Here's your bring back to school problem. I would like to know which one of these, A, B, C, and D, are true. A little bit of work for you, but I know you can do it. Make sure you find your least common multiples, transfer them into equivalent fractions. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll be checking this in the morning.